He didn't know it because he was possessed with fear. And fear is an internal enemy. And if you allow fear to terrorize you, it will eventually paralyze you. So you got to check fear. You got to talk back to fear. Somebody's listening tonight, and I came to tell you, you've got to open up your mouth. Never allow fear to have the last word in your life. Never allow the news reporter to have the last word in your life when you lay down at night. I don't care what they're saying on CNN or Fox or anybody else. Cut it off and say, yeah, but God is God, and he sits high and he looks low. Cut that TV off. If you're around people that are talking fear, get away from them. Hang up the phone, exit the room, and walk out and remind yourself, God has not given us the spirit of fear. Whom shall I fear? I don't care how high the gas prices go. Whom shall I fear? God is higher than all the gas prices. Tell 3 people around you, you gotta talk back. You gotta talk back. Sit down, y'all. Y'all are pushing me. Breaking out the sweat up here. You gotta talk back to fear. Because the most debilitating thing about fear is fear will prevent you from reaching for things that God has given you permission to have. I said fear. That's what our pastors' testimony was about a while ago. In times like these, if you're not careful, fear will stop you from reaching out for things that God has given you permission to have. So when God walks in and calls him a mighty man of valor, he immediately starts protesting as to why he is not the one for the job. And you know, that just tells me right there, he really is the one for the job. Because when a person is fully conscious of their own weaknesses, that is when the Lord can really get ready to use you. So anytime that God wants to safeguard his glory, he will set you in a situation that you cannot get the victory by yourself. You know, and he's God's man. He's called, and yet he is afraid. Now that speaks volumes to me as a leader. That tells me that we're releasing too many of the wrong people into ministry, because we are releasing people who feel qualified. But the people that God wants released are not the people that feel qualified. It's the people that feel horrified by the call. Because when you're really the one for the job, there's something in you that makes you want it and not want it at the same. See, God, when he calls you and he challenges you to go beyond your abilities. So that you're going to waste your strength trying to get all of these people to go to a place that God has called you to go, and they can't be trained. So ain't no sense in you losing your strength. Love them. Don't stop loving them. But you do got to let them go, because if they can't see what you see, they can't have what you have, and they cannot go where you go. And so you got to cut them out of your life. God said, get rid of the scaredy cats and get rid of this massive people who their attention is always on themselves. Well, he went from 32,000 men. You know the story. He went down to 300 men. And God said, now, this is what I want you to do. He said, I want you to go down to the enemy's camp tonight. And he said, I want you to take what belongs to you if you are not afraid. How funny is that? God got to have a sense of humor, because he just sent 22,000 men back to the house because they were afraid. But now the head honcho is afraid himself. What in the world is that about? I'll tell you what that is about. It's about different types of fear. When those who went back home got afraid, they had the kind of fear that made them turn around. But when you know that you know that you know that God has called you to do something, you can be afraid and still keep moving forward. Y'all better help me in here tonight. And you know, the thing about it is you keep moving forward, and people around you, they don't even know you're scared. You know why? Because we roar like a lion all day long. And we said, Gideon, he said, I want you to go to the enemy's camp and listen to what your enemy's got to say. Because your enemy's perception of you is much more real than your own perception. He said, go down there and put your ear in the tent of the enemy and listen to what they say. I don't know who I'm talking to today, but you need to listen to some of the things your enemies are saying about you. And quit crying over them. Understand this, your enemy, you want to thank God for your enemies more